Leafy as his VP. And I will also put iDubbbz as H3H3's VP. I think this is less likely than Leafy being KEEMSTAR's VP, but I can't really think of anything else. I'm going to put all the safe states now: Washington, Oregon, California, Virginia, Illinois, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, DC, and Hawaii. I am going to include Montana, Alaska, and South Carolina, since those states being likely for Trump right now is more due to the national climate rather than the particular, stuff going on. In any other situation, these would be safe, and the same thing applies for KEEMSTAR. So Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska at large, Nebraska 1st and 3rd District, South and North Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah. So those are all of the safe states for KEEMSTAR and Ethan Klein. Now we will go through all of the closer states, or the battlegrounds. I think KEEMSTAR in a lean margin will win Nevada, mostly due to him being more pro-Catholic. He was raised Catholic. Ethan Klein has made some comments about Catholics, which I feel will be repeated many times at the debate, not by him, but quoted by KEEMSTAR as proof that he is anti-Hispanic, anti-Latino, anti-Catholic, which may work. Now, while Arizona is also very much Hispanic, not as much as Nevada, I think it will go by a lean margin to Ethan Klein. He is much more, he's not as based as KEEMSTAR in that way. He's anti-PC, sort of, and he's pretty based, but he's not as based as KEEMSTAR. And suburban mums, they don't like the based people, and Arizona has a lot of suburban mums. Now, New Mexico, I feel like, it's very safe. It's likely because of the Catholic thing. There's a lot of Catholics in New Mexico, but I don't think it can go anymore because New Mexico is just trending so far left. Colorado will be safe because Ethan is very, vape nation, very pro-drugs, that sort of thing. Colorado people like that. Due to KEEMSTAR being very anti-PC, sort of pro-guns, populist candidate, Texas will like him. Maybe Senator Augie will throw out some mail-in ballots or something. Georgia, the national climate won't be as hostile to Republicans, but Ethan Klein will do very good in the state compared to most Republicans would. Two things. First of all, I feel KEEMSTAR wouldn't do very good amongst African Americans due to his numerous comments in the past. Not saying Ethan Klein hasn't had his numerous oopsies in regards to that fact, but I feel like KEEMSTAR's is more clear-cut. And also, there's a lot of suburbanites in Georgia, which Ethan Klein will do very good in. Florida, similar to what's happening in real life, there's conflicting things at force, which will almost always make it a tilt state, or at least very close, no matter what. Senior voters will go more Ethan Klein. They're older, they don't like the based as much, and Hispanics will go more KEEMSTAR, and the suburbans will go more Ethan Klein, as I said before. Just like with Trump and Biden right now. North Carolina, I feel like there's enough suburbanites, and it's trending left enough that will go by a lean margin to Ethan Klein. New Hampshire, I feel like is likely. Someone who's definitely not a populist is Ethan Klein. He doesn't try to portray an image of a populist. I feel like KEEMSTAR tries to make that sort of image of himself more man of the people type thing. Ethan, even if he does it, it doesn't it's not very good. He has a reputation of being a, rich guy who doesn't care that much about the common people, whereas Keemstar, he's more of a down-to-earth guy, whether you like him or not. He's definitely more populist in that regard. He's the type of guy where, if he was running, he would be going on the campaign trail, having massive crowds and rallies, going wherever he goes, thousands of people following him, and then H3H3, he'll just be going on Stephen Colbert and John Oliver, one of those late night talk show hosts. He's more of an. He's neither of them are establishment candidates, but Keemstar is less establishment and definitely more populist. And I think that populism doesn't work as well in New Hampshire. But where it does work more well is in Maine, where it will cause him to likely, by a likely margin, win Maine's 2nd district. He will lose by a tilt margin, Maine at large, and Ethan Klein will, of course, win that safe. I don't know why I forgot to put that there before. Due to what I said before, the populism, both Iowa and Ohio will go to Keemstar. I feel like that's kind of obvious at this point, and they're very much trending Republican, and I feel like Keemstar isn't the type of person who would make voters, want to go away from the Republican Party and go to the Democrats, because Ethan Klein isn't a very popular figure either, and I feel like while it won't get as bad as the 2016 amount of non-voters, it could get close, and I reckon both candidates will be in the negatives, in the disapprovals. Ethan Klein will win Nebraska's 2nd district, mostly due to trends and because it's a very much a suburban place, Omaha, where Ethan Klein will do quite well. Minnesota is a they love the left libertarian, sort of anti-establishment, but still kind of like, weed and stuff, drugs candidates. They'll like Ethan Klein. They like populism as well, so, quite a few will go to Keemstar. It will be decided by tilt margin, but I feel pretty comfortable calling this one for Ethan Klein. Wisconsin, due to the populism, they love the populism sort of stuff, and with that is much of, blaming on the coronavirus, because that's one of the reasons why I think Trump is doing so bad in Wisconsin compared to Michigan and Pennsylvania, is because of the coronavirus. It's hit Wisconsin pretty heavily, and you won't really be able to blame Keemstar for that. By a tilt margin, Michigan will go to Keemstar, more left-wing, but in a national climate which isn't as hostile to the Republicans as it is now, they'll be trending pretty far right, and while they are both quite reprehensible candidates, I feel like Keemstar will win in this regard. And it goes down to the final state, just like the state which I believe will be the tipping point in the real 2020 election, Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania, they like fracking, and I feel like Keemstar is not the most environmentally friendly candidate out of him and Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein's definitely more pro that, and Ethan Klein will probably be against fracking. And with a populism element, Keemstar and even Leafy are much more populists than Ethan and iDubbbz. They just won't campaign in the same way. They won't have the massive crowds. They won't be able to draw as much attention as Keemstar. Keemstar is fantastic at drawing attention to things he wants. Keemstar can make anyone focus on any story. He can make things up, but it sticks. He's fantastic at that. So I am going to put this deciding state and the tipping point state in Keemstar's place. So we have Keemstar with VP Leafy with 285 electoral votes, and Ethan Klein with VP iDubbbz at 253 electoral votes. With the Republicans, 125 electoral votes for safe states, 63 for likely, 16 for lean, and 81. Quite a lot for tilt, which is explain it for layman's terms. 120, the safe states, safe means over a 10% margin, likely means over 5%, lean means, over 1%, and tilt is a less than 1% difference. For the Democrats, 205 electoral votes will be safe, 9 will be likely, 27 will be lean, and 12 will be tilt. So there you have it. I doubt this will ever happen. I sincerely hope that KEEMSTAR will run in the 2024 election, even though I can't vote because I'm Australian, and also I'm way below 18. I really hope that he will vote because I would vote for him in a millisecond if I could vote. Like, over 33%. So, yep. This is my prediction.